Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is exactly 2:30 a.m. and I just left my friend's house about 15 minutes ago. I stayed super late. I'll talk about that in just a minute, but I'm wearing my new hoodie that I bought today from the Meijer, my new Champion hoodie. It's like a really like a lightweight hoodie, and it's chilly outside tonight. It's 59 degrees, but it's like windy and it's really cold. No, I wouldn't say cold, but it's chilly outside. And yeah, it's been a really, really good day today. I've had a fun day. Alex and I slept in. He was supposed to take his car to the dealer today to learn how to take off the doors and stuff like that, but he decided to sleep in. And so he, yeah, so we both slept in till like 1:30. And then he was going over to his friend's house to lay out. It was real cloudy here in Indianapolis today. It wasn't super warm, but they had a good time. So he went over there, and it was him and a bunch of people that a bunch of girls he works with. It was like 5 girls he works with. And and then like one of his other friends too. She went over there too, because she knows all of them, because she used to work with them. But I guess it was like 3 girls he works with and like 3 girls that he used to work with that don't work there anymore. So anyway, doesn't work with them anymore. So anyway, yeah, so he did that. And then I got up and I uploaded my vlog and did a bunch of stuff. And then I went and got coffee and did a review at Starbucks. And then I went to Target because I wanted to get something to wear. Oh, so when I woke up today, my friend texted me and she said that, like, yeah, I was kind of nervous about going. I wasn't sure I wanted to go. I didn't want to go because I thought there were going to be a lot of people there. And then she texted me and she said that like 2 of the couples had canceled and it wasn't going to be a lot of people, and that she had talked to my sponsor and they had decided that they weren't going to take no for an answer and that I had to come. So she was making a vegetarian Indian meal for me. And it was like, well, I'll talk about that in a second. So anyway, so I was real excited about that, because I was like, okay, like, I'm going to get excited about this. I'm going to go. I'm going to have a good time. You know, I'm going to work through my social anxiety and just go and have a, you know, whatever. So I went to Target because I wanted to buy, I've gained so much weight that like my shorts don't fit. So I wanted to buy a pair of shorts. And, so I went to Target and I bought a pair of shorts. I actually bought a new like fanny pack thing too. That's like corduroy, kind of like corduroy camouflage. And, so I bought that. And what else did I get? Oh, I got something else. Oh, I got another bathing suit too. That's a size bigger, so that'll fit. So that'll fit me. And, then I went to Meijer. I was gonna buy some new plants, but by that point it was getting like late in the day, and there was a lot of traffic everywhere I went today. So I went into Meijer and I found these hoodies. They were on sale. I think they were like $16.99 or something like that. Maybe they were a little bit more than that. And I got this one and I got one in green. And but I got them in 2 different sizes because I wasn't sure which one would fit, and also because I'm hoping to lose some weight. So the green one's a size, this is like a 2XL, and it's kind of tight on me, but it's kind of like slim fit, you know? And then the green one is an XL. So anyway, and then I left there. I talked to a bunch of people on the phone today, and I went home. I think I stopped by the post office on the way. Stopped by the post office on the way home, and then I went home and made a drama video. And at that point, it was like 5:30 or something, and I was supposed to be at my friend's house at 7. But I told her I was running late, and she was like, "That's totally fine. Just come whenever you want." She's like, there's not like any strict time. So, made the video, watered all my plants outside of the back patio and front patio. Took the dogs out, let them run in the yard forever. And then was doing a lot of laundry and getting my video up, put my review video up, and then I took a shower and got ready to go, and the shorts that I bought didn't fit. They fit, but like they were snug, like very snug. So I ended up wearing sweat shorts, which I was kind of like, oh, I'm a little embarrassed about this, but I was like, whatever. So I ended up wearing sweat shorts, and she was like, nobody cares, just wear whatever you want to wear, which everybody was like super casually dressed, so I'm glad that I just wore what I want. And it was me and my friend and her husband and then their son, and he had like 2 friends from across the street, and the 3 of them were like running around the yard and just playing and stuff like that. And then it was another couple and their daughter who was like 2.5 or something. She was real young, and she was playing, the kids were playing with her and stuff like that. And then my friend's father-in-law, my sponsor, and another couple. And then the other couple, they were like this older couple, they left like as soon as I got there. Like they were only there for like probably a half an hour, and then they left. And then their father-in-law left probably a half an hour after that. And then the other couple with the baby, they left probably a half an hour after that. So it ended up just being my sponsor and I, and my friend and her husband. And then the kids from across the street left, and so their son just sat outside. We all sat outside and made s'mores. I took Reese's over because I have not had a s'more with Reese's, and I've heard so many people talk about it that I really wanted to try it and see what it tasted like. It was so delicious, you guys. So instead of, and my friend was like, oh, I do Kit Kats, but I've never done a Reese's before. And so she made me a little take-home bag because her food was so delicious. So, well, anyway, so we had the s'mores later. I had 3 s'mores, you guys. I know, you wonder why I don't fit into my shorts. There you go. Anyway, did I have 2 or I think maybe I just had 2. I love s'mores, but they're so messy, aren't they? And she liked the huge marshmallows too. And her house is so adorable. It's so, so, so cute. And they've got it all decorated like real eclectic with like all different kinds of art and stuff. And I haven't like, I mean, I know her like well, but like I've never like hung out with her other than like maybe 2 or 3 other, like we'll go to meetings and dinner and stuff like that, but like I haven't hung out and just like sat and talked with her like that, with the exception of, well, we talk on the phone and stuff like that, but like just sitting there and talking for like hours on end just about stupid stuff, like we haven't done that in like maybe 3 other times in the last year or something like that. So it was really fun. And yeah, it was just so nice. It was so cold. She kept on bringing out all these blankets, and she had all these like really comfy blankets that she was bringing out. And my sponsor and I were like all wrapped up in these blankets, making s'mores and stuff. It was such a good time. And I was just texting my sponsor, making sure that she made it home safe. And she was like, I'm so glad that you decided to come. And I was like, yeah, I am too. I had a really good time. And so my sponsor left at probably 12, and I stayed like another 2 hours. We just stood in the back. We stayed in the back patio, and their son went inside and was watching some movie. I think it was Shrek. Is that the one with the donkey? And yeah, he was watching Shrek. And so my friend and I and her husband, we just sat on the back, or out by the fire, and he made us coffee, and I had like 2 big cups of coffee, which I'm kind of tired, and you would think I wouldn't be, but I am kind of tired. And we just talked about everything. We talked about music, we talked about psychics, we talked about religion, we talked about our spirituality, our spiritual beliefs. We were talking a lot about, just like, you know, just all kinds of stuff. It was really fun. And I had such a blast. I just had such a good time. They're just so nice, and they were so welcoming, and the food was delicious. So she made the most incredible salad, and then she had cucumbers in like this cream sauce, like cucumber slices. It was like a vinegar cream sauce. It was really good, like salad, and like just you know, whole whole cucumber slices. And then she made this like curry sauce that I thought was going to be really spicy, but it wasn't. It was like a creamy curry sauce that she had, like that that white rice. It's like that basmati rice, I don't know how to pronounce it, that you put it over, and then you eat it with that like naan bread. She called that, I don't know what the bread is called, but anyway, she was showing me how to eat it, and it was so good. I told her, I said, oh my God, it was so good, I loved it. And she said, well, I'm sending a bunch of it home with you. I said, no, you don't have to do that. She was like, no, I'm sending it home with you because I made it for you. She was so sweet. We just had such a good time. So it was so funny that, you know, like I was worried about going, and then I'm the one that ends up staying there the longest. And it was fun. I had such a good time. Alex was so happy that I went. He was like, I'm so glad that you had a good time. So I don't know if I said this already, but he hung out with his friends all day long, laying out, and then he came home. But like when I left, he was like, he called me like 10 minutes after I left, and he was like, I'm on my way home. And I said, well, I just left. So he was at home with the dogs for like 2 hours, and then he went over to his friend's house, and he stayed over there for like an hour and a half, and then he texted me and he called me and said he was coming home, and that he was really tired. And then I said, okay, just text me when you get home, and he texted me when he got home. So that wasn't too long ago, but he said he was really, really tired. So, but it was, you know, it was a really fun night. I had a really good time. The whole day was just a great day, and I downloaded like 3 versions of Gloria Gaynor's I Will Survive. I downloaded the original, the remix, which is like basically the original, and then I downloaded the version I wanted the version from the movie Priscilla Queen of the Desert, and I ended up downloading the version that's from the musical on Broadway, Priscilla Queen of the Desert, but it's a really good version, so I was kind of glad that I downloaded it. So I've been listening to, I can't really get it out of my head at this point. I have it in my head, I'm like stuck in my head, and but yeah, like I forget, like tonight was very similar to years and years that we would go over to Tanya's and sit around a bonfire and you know, just like drink coffee, and I took a fountain pop over there, and which is like watered down. My friend was like, cause I had it there since like 8 o'clock. My friend was like, do you want me to give you another soda on the way home? I said, no, this is totally fine. And so yeah. It was fun. You know, there was like, there was a period of time when there was like 6 or 7 of us that we went to meetings together all the time, and we would go to dinner before, always on Tuesday nights, because that was our home group night. So we would go to dinner either before or after, but typically before. There was this restaurant that we would sometimes go to after. It's a local restaurant called Sam's. I mean, if we went afterwards, we would go there, but typically we would go before dinner or before the meeting, and we would go to this place called El Camino, which was like this Mexican restaurant that was like super cheap, but it was like the food was so good. Oh my God, it's still there. Still, I mean, the restaurant's still there. Tony and I went there, God, how long ago was that? Probably, God, I bet it's been like 2 years now. But they have like the best chips and queso and chips and salsa. And their salsa's like kind of spicy sweet mix. I don't even know how to explain it. And they bring it to your table in like a long bottle, and then you just like pour it in the thing. But each person's meal would be like $8 or $10, you know. So we would go there if we ate like before the meeting. If we ate after the meeting, we would go to Sam's. And this is obviously when I wasn't a vegetarian, but they had this Monte Cristo sandwich that it was like you know, like a ham and cheese sandwich, but then it was like deep fried, and then they would put what do you call it? The powder on it. Well, I can't think of what that's called. Not baking powder, but you know what I'm talking about. Powdered sugar. They put powdered sugar on it, and it came with like a side of jelly. It was so good. I used to love that sandwich so much. or maybe it was like chicken. I think it was like the one they had was like chicken with ham on the chicken and cheese, and then it was deep fried, like this deep batter. Oh my God, it was so good. Oh, no. Okay, they had a chicken cordon bleu sandwich. That's one of the things I would get. And it was deep fried too, but then they also had, is that what I just said? That it was called? Maybe I'm thinking the same thing. Was that chicken cordon bleu sandwich? I think that's what it was. But anyway, it was so good. And then it always came with a slice of coffee cake, because they have like the world's best coffee cake. And we would go there afterwards and we would eat, and then we would go to we would all get like coffee at the gas station or fountain pops. We'd all go to the gas station and get fountain pops and cigarettes and coffee and stuff. And then we'd go over to Tanya's, because we would be there at like 10, we would eat from like 9:30 to 10:30 or 11. Then we'd go over to Tanya's till like 1 in the morning and sit around and just talk around. She'd make a bonfire and we'd sit out there and talk. My one friend that lives in Oakland now, she the whole night was like obsessed with keeping the fire perfect. And I did that a lot, like I don't really like, it's interesting because I talk a lot about Tanya and like being my best friend and stuff, but like I don't really talk about what a pivotal part of my life she's really been. Like it wasn't just, and it's not just Tanya, it's her husband Eric and her son Nick too, like they were my extension of my family, and my mom and I and like my ex, or my mom and I when I was with nobody, would do stuff with like Tanya's family for holidays and stuff, like 4th of July or whatever. We would, I remember a couple of years we went and saw the fireworks downtown with them and stuff like that. And I can remember Tanya and I going over to my mom's house, and when she first got sick and like hanging out, we this one night we went over there and Tanya like laid on the end of her bed and was asking my mom all these questions. I remember my mom had her window open, and so the tree that we have in our front yard now is actually a new tree that they planted, God, probably 5 years ago, I would guess. It was really small when they first planted it. It's huge now. But my mom had this ginormous tree in her front yard, and she could look out her window. This is when she was sick. This is so weird. I'm thinking about this. I haven't thought about this since forever. I probably talked about it on here at some point, but it's been a long time. My mom could look out, like if she was propped up in her bed a little bit, she could look straight out her window into the tree, and there was a bird nest that had like, this bird had made like a nest out there. And I remember my mom just loved laying in bed looking at that nest. It's so weird now that I'm like thinking about like how obsessed I am with like looking at the birds and stuff. And but I remember like my mom had the windows open that night and the blinds pulled up, and she said something to Tanya about there's a bird nest right out there. And it's like early evening, and Tanya and I kind of like hung out, and Tanya was like laying down on the bed and talking to my mom. And it's so funny, my mom had that huge California king bed, and she was so small in it, she even seemed smaller when she was sick. But for years and years and years, even when I was with my exes, like, Tanya was like my second home. She was like where I went, even more so than like my mom and my dad. It's like, I don't think there was a day that I didn't go to Tanya's house, like I went over to her house every single day. And, she would like whip dinner together in like 5 minutes. So many nights did I eat dinner there. She'd say, just stay for dinner. And I'd say, oh, well, what are you doing? And she'd say, well, Eric's going to put some burgers on the grill. Like, they love to grill in the summer. She'd say, like, I can remember Tanya, like, I was talking to her about this the other day. Like, Tanya would work like 8 or 9 hours, nonstop. And then she would come home and, she would like get Nick doing his homework and whatever. And then, Tanya always was sponsoring, young girls or, 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds or whatever. And, So they're always running in and out of the house, and like, I mean, at any given time, Tanya probably had, you know, somebody, I mean, people just walked in and out of her house constantly, you know, in the program, and they were all friends with each other too, all these girls, so they were always like, you know, 3 of them coming over, they'd just been shopping or something, you know, going to have coffee or at a meeting or whatever, and they'd stop by, and, you know, like, Nick would always be at the kitchen table doing his homework, or, you know, upstairs in his room playing video games or something, and running around, and Tanya would be in the kitchen, I'd be sitting there talking to her, you know, and she'd whip up a salad, a vegetable, and like a main course, and she'd say, you know, like, Eric's making steaks on the, you know, the grill, or cheeseburgers, and then she'd make, you know, like, some kind of salad, and, you know, like, always, like, and she'd lay it all out, like, buffet style, and we would all eat, you know, like, my ex and I, we went over there so many nights for dinner, you know, like, I mean, I bet he and I ate over there probably 3 nights a week, until like our last year together. We probably ate over there 3 nights a week. My ex kind of started getting, not I wouldn't say jealous, but like, he kind of got a little, like, he would, like, I would get, not controlling, I don't even, Tanya would say controlling, but like, I would get over there, and he would say, like, he would text me and be like, how long are you going to be over there? And so I would only stay over there for like a half an hour or something, then I would come home. But he and I, like, went over there a lot, and, you know, Tanya's always been so good to the people that I've been with. She adored him. She didn't really know my boyfriend before. She didn't really know him very well, because that was when Tanya and I first started becoming friends. And then, and of course, Alex, she adores, you know. But anyway, so we would go over there a lot, and, like, I would be over there, and then, like, he would come home from work and come straight over there, and we would just sit outside, and we'd sit out on our patio and talk for hours, and he was always over there, like, with all of us that were in recovery together. He came over there a lot, too. But, like, everybody would bring whoever they were, like, dating at the moment, like, with them, you know? And people would just stay, like, till, like, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and make pots of coffee, or run up to the gas station and get coffee or a fountain pop and then come back. And it was just, Tanya's place was always, like, this open door place, you know? And Eric was just, like, everybody's dad, and, you know, and they were so good to all of us, you know? Like, they were just that house. And, you know, I never had that growing up. Like, you know how you have that neighborhood house that, like, everybody goes to? I mean, like, I had a lot of neighbors, like I've talked about on here, you know, that I would, like, go up and down and eat lunch out with my friends and stuff like that. But, like, I never had that one house, you know, that everybody goes out and hangs out with, you know, that, like, the person's always grilling out. Like, my mom's best friend, like, when she was growing up, her friend Diane, that passed away before her, she would say that she would go over there, you know, and Diane's dad would be, like, grilling out steaks for everybody in the summer, you know, after they had gone swimming at the Rivy Country Club, which is where they all went swimming. And, you know, she'd say, oh, like, you know, on the weekends, you know, Diane's dad would always be grilling out for, and every one of the kids, there's like 5 kids in the family, they'd each have a couple friends over and whatever, and she's like, there's always like 15 of us over there, you know, it was so much fun. That was Tanya's house, like, that was all of us, you know, and, it just has always been that. I think that's why it's kind of hard sometimes now for Tanya, you know, that, like, it's not that way. I mean, Tanya doesn't really sponsor, I mean, she would, but, like, she's not sponsoring any young girls, and she hasn't for a while, like, any, you know, girls in their in their early 20s, and, you know, the women that she sponsors are older, you know, they're like our age, and, have families of their own and stuff, so it's like, there's not a lot of people coming in and out anymore, you know, and it was a time and place, you know, and we, you know, my sponsor at the time, he was like one of the guys that would come over there a lot, and he lived on the south side, so he would, you know, bring a friend with him, and, it was fun. It was a blast, you know, and it was always, you just knew something was, you know, we would all sit on the floor and watch a movie. Tanya was talking about this the other night. Like, there was this one time that Tanya we went to Walmart, and there was like 10 of us sitting out there. It was like our little recovery group, and then like my ex was there. I remember, because he and I went and we got baby pools at Walmart, and he and I each got one, because I can remember he and I going there and picking them out. We got laughing so hard. He and I were like, we are not gonna fit in these. I mean, we were heavy, you know. And he and I were like, we are not going to fit in these pools. And we all had these pools on Tanya's back patio. And she brought this, like, some projector or something. And we watched Final Destination. And maybe she just brought a TV out there. I can't remember. And we watched Final Destination out on one of the Final Destination movies. And Tanya got so scared. And we were like, it was like hot. It was like August. And it was like, you know, like 90 degrees at night. It was so hot, you know, just really humid, and we were all sitting in these baby pools out on Tanya's patio. Like, we were in the pool, because Tanya thought that would be so cool for us to watch a movie and sit in the pool, you know, but like, we're in these baby pools. We're always just doing such stupid stuff like that. It was so fun. You know, and then like after Tanya would we would be out there for a while after she made dinner, you know, she'd clean up all the dinner. We'd all go in and help her clean up the dinner. But then Tanya would like make a snack buffet too, and it would be like popcorn and cut up apples, all kinds of cut up fruit, cut up apples, cut up strawberries. You know, she'd have like chocolate and, you know, and nuts and chocolate to mix in with the popcorn if you wanted. And, you know, she'd have little plates for everybody. You could cheese, so she cut up cheese, and like she always had those. Tanya loves summer sausage. Oh my god, you know, like the summer sausage that comes in the things you cut up, you know, she loves that. And is that what it's called, summer sausage or salami or whatever, you know, like, you know, those things that people give away at like Christmas time, like that nobody wants. Tanya loves all that stuff. She like still to this day will go to the gas station and she still gets those Slim Jims. She loves them. And but it was just so much fun back then, you know. Tonight was like that. Tonight really felt like that. It was fun. It was nice. We would like stay over at Tanya's like on the weekend. I mean, we would all of us stay over there till like 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning. And I can remember we'd be like, all of us like laying on the floor in the living room watching some movie. And like my ex would be like, I'm hungry. He'd be like, I want candy or something. And then like my friend would be like, our friend that lives in Oakland now, she'd be like, I want candy too. And they'd be like, let's run to the gas station. So they like run to the gas station, and Tanya and I would like run outside and like smoke a cigarette and make a pot of coffee. You know, it was like just fun. It was stupid, you know? It's like, that's why like, I think it's so important for people, you know, we talk about fellowship in recovery, but like fellowship is basically like interacting with other people and the friendships that you make and things like that, which I don't do a lot of anymore. And that's why it was really good for me to go tonight, and why it was such a fun night, you know, because like getting sober is one thing, you know, not drinking, not using drugs from day to day is like a huge part, obviously, right? Service is a huge part, you know, all of the literature, you know, the texts is a huge part. Working steps, like I said, you know, all of that stuff is part. Sponsorship, but fellowship is such a huge part of sobriety and recovery, and it's really important. And if like I could send one message to people out there, you know, I had a lot of really fun times drinking and, you know, using and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie and act like I didn't. But like, I have had so much fun in sobriety. I've had so much fun in recovery. And I wish I could just show, I mean, even the fun I'm explaining probably doesn't sound like a lot of fun to anybody, but I wish I could just give you a glimpse into what that world looks like. You know, it's like, when you go home from, you know, your friend's house of sitting on the patio for 5 hours and just having, I mean, we got laughing so hard tonight. Like, we were just like, my sponsor got us laughing so hard about just the stupidest stuff, like laughing to the point where you feel like you can't stop laughing, like you're gonna pee your pants kind of laughing, you know? And it's like over just silly stuff, and then you go home and you're like, I am tonight. Like, I'm like, God, I wish we could do this again tomorrow night, you know? It's like, you know, they say we are not a glum lot, and I think if I it stopped. But if I could show anybody like an inside picture to sobriety to see like, A, how much fun you really can have. No, it's not always fun, but life isn't always fun. But how much fun there is to be had, what great relationships and great friendships you can build, right? And then to go home and it's not like you're hung over the day from the next day from the fun, or you've wasted a day from the fun. You know, it's like, it's just good, wholesome fun. And, you know, you go home and you're just like, you have this like ecstatic kind of peace of mind that almost kind of feels like, in a weird way, like a spiritual experience. Like, I mean, just because you feel so connected to people. Like, I felt that way when I drank and I used, but then I would wake up the next day and I didn't feel as connected to them. Like, you know what I mean? I realized that a lot of it, I look back on it now, and as sad as it is, that a lot of my relationships back then were built on the commonality of drinking and drugging together. And it makes me sad. Like, I look back at that and I'm like, is that what we had in common? And with a lot of my friends, yeah, that was the majority of it. It really was, you know, and I don't like that. It makes me sad, but that's just the reality. And I mean, I guess the same thing could be said today for, is that all I have with some of these people is my sobriety? Well, maybe, but like, we're having definitely more meaningful conversations. I mean, I don't, like, it's not like every person that I meet that's sober, like, we have this instant connection and we're best friends. It's just not the case. But I do meet a lot of people that I'm like, I mean, my friend and I that I was over her house tonight, like, she and I are just like kindred souls. Like, we like the same music and, same movies, same like, we're just like obsessed with it. I mean, we just sit there and la 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 la. Her husband at one point was like, oh my God, because it was like at the end, it was like her husband, her, me, and my sponsor, we were sitting like, you know, kind of like this way in front of the fire, and he was like, they just don't stop, and it's just fun, you know, and it's just as nice. And I've been really blessed to have some fantastic relationships and meet some of the coolest people, you know, in sobriety that I wouldn't have met otherwise. Or if I did, the relationship wouldn't have been as meaningful to me. And it's such a gift, and I don't want to ever forget that, you know, and take it for granted. So yeah, it's been a good night. It's been a good day. It kind of today reminded me of, like, outside it was so windy, and I wanted to go to the pool earlier, but it wasn't super warm, and it kind of reminded me of, I can remember going to the boat in Saugatuck on like the last days of summer. Like, my dad would keep the boat up there into September, and we would go like some days in September, because my dad would, maybe he even kept it up later than that, like October. I feel like he sailed some days, but upstate Michigan can get kind of cold, you know, like late in the year. And I can remember I can't get this stuff out. I know it looks like I'm putting tons and tons on, but it's like just not coming out. And I'm afraid that if I push it really hard, it's going to gloop out. There it comes, see? It all came out in a big thing. I was showing my friend and her husband like everything that I keep in my fanny pack, and they were laughing at me. She was like, I wonder what you had in there. And there's all kinds of tricks and surprises. Literally like 15 lip balms, 4 things of hand sanitizer, maybe 5. And a bottle of Aleve and Tums. That's what I have in there. And my camera. I always keep my camera in there too. My wallet. I bought it this thing at Target today for $20 because it's big and it has 2 huge pockets in it. And I was like, this is perfect. And then I was looking at it as I was checking out because it wouldn't ring through. So the guy had to come over and help me. And he goes, how much is it? And I said $20. It was right there on the price tag. And I looked at it and I thought, God, Peter, you've literally like doubled in, like it's double in size. I was like, you might as well just carry a purse at this point because that's basically what it looks like. I mean, it's just like, and I don't care. It's like I need big sale, or I just saw a sign that said big sale. I need a big space to put all my. It says big sale June 12th or something. But anyway, I need a big, you know, bag to carry all my crap that I don't need in. Anyway. So many nights I've spent on Tanya's patio, God. We would go get slushies too, I remember that. There'd be a couple of us over there and we would go get slushies in the summer. You know, I remember the very first day I met Tanya. It's so strange. To this day, I mean, it's like so long ago. And I remember I stopped into her dog kennel. And, so she had this girl that worked for her at the time. She had these 2 girls that were a couple that worked for her. And they looked kind of like twins. They both had these dragonfly tattoos because, like, I feel like they had them, like, I can't remember, like, right here or somewhere. But they had dragonfly tattoos because dragonflies mate for life, and I always loved that. And I always thought they were so romantic that they, like, met and dated for life and all this stuff. And then they ended up, like, having this horrible fight and breaking up and going their separate ways. And that was, like, forever ago. I mean, it was, like, 23 years ago. But anyway. So when I met Tanya, I remember I like walked in and she was like doing these, she was going up and going down. And I said, so I started talking to her and I said, because this other girl was like standing there too, I think, and she went in the back and she said, well, I said, what are you doing? She said, these like yoga poses. And she said that, like, something like they asked her not to come back to yoga. She and the other girl had gone to yoga. And she said, yeah, she got me to go to yoga today, but they asked me not to come back anymore. Or something like that. I think they're going to ask me not to come back. And I said, why? And she said, because, we got laughing so hard during yoga when we were, and she was like, sitting dog. And she was like, it was so funny. Like right out of the, you know, gate, meeting her, it was so funny. And so we started talking and I was like, you look so familiar to me. And she was like, you look so familiar to me too. We couldn't figure out how. And then I realized that she had sponsored some people that had gone through treatment where I was working. And like I had seen her come in probably and like taken them to a meeting. And so that's how we became friends. And she was like, you should stop by sometime and just hang out. Because we talked about like that first time we talked for a long time. I was like, okay. And I like literally had like no friends at that point. And I was like very lonely in sobriety. And was that before my ex and I broke up, or that was my first boyfriend, or I think we were together still, and he was working 2 jobs and like he was never home. he worked like a day job at this music place, that LTD Music or whatever, and then he was like a manager there, but not like the manager, but he was like a manager. And then he worked at the Marriott doing room service. Oh, I've talked about that on here before because he had like that stalker guy. I talked about that. But he did bring home really great desserts from that. Every night, these huge desserts. I was working out every day back then. I think about that. I was literally like running every day. I was in the best shape of my life. But I was also living with him, and I was living with my roommate that lives in Germany now. And they were like super into working out. Like, I mean, he always has been that way. I think he still is by the looks of it, but on social media. But she was too. She actually worked at Gold's Gym, and she was really into like lifting weights and all that kind of stuff. And she was like very feminine, and like really into like, you know, makeup and doing all kind of stuff. But she had like the most intense body, and she could like power lift with these guys. Like, she trained with these guys that were ginormous and stuff. But anyway, she got really into all of that. And then I was running on the treadmill, and, you know, for like 5+ miles a night. I was eating, we were all eating pretty healthy for the most part. And I don't know what just made me remember these killings that happened in Carmel. I'll tell you about that in a second. But anyway, so I don't know what made me think about that, or why I would even want to tell anybody about that, but I totally forgot about that. They happened like right around here is why I was thinking of it. That's so weird. I haven't thought about that in years. I talked about it on my vlog a couple times, but it literally came out of nowhere, me thinking about it. But anyway, so she was like, you should stop by sometime, and I did, and we talked a couple times. And then she was like, you need to go to this meeting with me, and that's how I started going to my home group meeting, was with her, and how I met the other people. And I was just driving home from work one night after she had, you know, it wasn't like the next day, it was like a while later, and I was kind of like feeling really lonely that day, and I have nobody, and I was like, you need to go in, and like, I just knew, like, you need to take some risks to, like, go in and meet somebody, and if you don't, like, you're never gonna have any friends. Like, my social anxiety is so bad. Like, it's better now. Like, I went in there tonight, and I was like, hey, you know, like, talking to my friends and whatever, and then my sponsor, like, stood up and gave me a hug, and she was like, do you know? And I was like, I don't know any of them. And so she took me over, and she, like, introduced me. I was like, hey, how are you? You know, like, I'm better with it now. Like, I can be sociable, but, like, back then it was, like, really bad. It was, like almost like panic attack to, like, go talk to somebody that I didn't know. And, which is so, like, in a work environment, it was totally fine. I didn't have it. But, like, on a personal level, like, it was really scary for me. And, so I don't know what had happened. I don't remember. I was like driving home, and I just was kind of like, I don't have any friends. Like, I don't have any sober friends, and I was lonely, and I honestly don't remember, but I do remember going in there and talking to her again, and we hung out for a little bit at the kennel, and then she was like, you know, you should come to this meeting. And then I went. I think at first I said no, and then I went eventually, I don't know, and that's how that became my home group. And then, yeah, and she and I have been like diehard friends. I mean, it was like literally like right then, and we became really, really good friends. And our friendship's just gotten better and better through the years. And I feel just so blessed for her, you know. And you know, one of the greatest things is that, you know, we've been friends for 23.5 years now, something like that, and we figured out the exact date. I can't remember when we did that, but we figured it out. And you know, Tanya and I, in 23.5 years, have had, like, I talked about this the other night, I think, we've only had like one argument. you know? And it was over in like 6 hours, because it was when we were on a trip in Tennessee. And it was like a total misunderstanding of like what we were saying to each other. But, like, you know, Tanya and I have had very different opinions and philosophies and beliefs about many different things. And in 23 and a half years, we have never had an argument about it. You know, I'll listen to her side, she'll listen to my side. I mean, there's things that we, like, I adamantly believe one way, and she adamantly believes something else. And, you know, I wouldn't say we've convinced each other of the other side, but, like, I've been very willing to listen to what she had to say and why she feels that way, and she's done the same. And both of our opinions have kind of, like, I would say where we were like this when we met, we're now like this about most things. And, you know, I just feel like if that can happen between two people that are willing to listen to each other, I believe that that can happen in the world as well, you know? And listening to each other with open ears. And I mean, I really believe that, but I think that each and every one of us has to be open and willing to listen to somebody else, you know, and maybe just listen to it from their perspective. Even if you don't agree with it, just listen to it, take it in, you know, and form your own opinion. You can stick to your own opinion. You don't have to change it, but at least maybe hear somebody else's perspective or their side or why they feel that way, you know? That lip stuff is really tingling. So, I was going to tell you about the murder. So there was these, okay, I think, like, I would have to look him up to see, and I can't remember what the last name was. But there were these 3 kids in Carmel. There was a brother and a sister, and the brother's friend. And the sister was like 13 or 14, and the brother and his friend were like 16, I think. 16 or 17. And the dad, I think the mom had passed away, and it was just like the dad, but I could be wrong. It could have been the mom and dad. Were out of town. It was like this ginormous house in Carmel. Carmel's like the north suburban. It's like it's where I grew up, but it's much nicer now than when I grew up there. But it's like one of the north suburbs of Indianapolis, and you know, it's kind of like Oak Park or Hinsdale for Chicago and things like that. It's just a really nice area, and you know, supposedly good school districts. And you know, now, I mean, it's completely different than when I was growing up. Now there was like $1 million homes everywhere, and this was like this ginormous home on like a cul-de-sac, and I can see the news coverage in my head, and I really don't remember when it was, but it must have been around the time that I got sober, because I was friends with this guy. I was just talking to somebody the other day about him. I was friends with this guy who really helped me a lot my first year sober. I was talking to my friend that I saw at Meyer, because she was the one that introduced me to him. And he like didn't drink or do drugs or anything, and so she introduced me to him, and he really like helped keep me entertained my first year when I didn't know a lot of people, and I was just going to a lot of meetings, but I didn't have anybody. So I would go, wasn't social at all, so I would go over to his apartment, and I mean, he didn't go to like parties or out to bars, so I would go over to his apartment, and he would just make all these mixtapes, and we would listen to, he was so into me. He worked for a music place too. He worked for BMG Music, actually. And he was like a district manager, and so we would go over there. And then that summer he actually took me to a lot of concerts, and it was so crazy. Like we went to like Dave Matthews, yes, we went to Dave Matthews. Fish we went to, but I got free tickets. I was at a gas station this summer after I got sober, and this woman came up to me, and she was it a woman or was it a man? I don't even remember, but I think it was a woman. She was a realtor, and she was like, she was like, do you like fish? And I said, yeah, I love fish. And she was like, I'm a realtor, and my clients just gave me these 2 comp tickets. Do you want them? And I said, yeah, sure. How much do you want for them? And she goes, oh, I won't charge you for them. She said, here, just go and enjoy it. And I called him up, and we went, and they were like 2nd row seats. And they like laid on stage and like did Follow the Yellow Brick Road and stuff like that. It was amazing to see Fish that close. But anyway, I'm not as big a Fish fan as I am the Grateful Dead, because, you know, like I went to so many Grateful shows and stuff. But anyway, so he took me to a lot of concerts. We went and saw a lot of concerts that summer because he got free tickets to everything. We went and saw Sade, and we saw, who my one friend swore her name was Sade. I'm like, and I remember because my two friends would fight about it. Him and this other guy would fight about it because the guy that swore it was Sade, my other friend, like, he's done artwork for her and stuff like that. And he's my friend that lives in Denver. He, like, knows Sade really well and, like, idolizes her. And, so the other friend loved Madonna, and so they would get in fights, like stupid fights, and he'd be like, really? Mardonna? And he's like, no, I'm almost 100% positive it's Sade. He's like, my other friend would go, really? Mardonna? It's not Mardonna, so it's not Sade. So anyway, but, we went to so many I don't even remember all the concerts we went to. I think I have all the tickets at home somewhere. I kept them in, like, this little thing. But anyway, we had so much fun. But he had these people that lived below him. And one of them was there was 3 guys that were, got arrested for this murder. And his neighbor below him was one of them. And, because I can remember he, like, I was either there. God, it's been so long, you guys. I can't remember anything. Do you want to hear what's really strange, though, is? So, one of our best friends, it's like, they've been friends of ours. Like, we met him the first year Alex and I got together, so we've known him for 12 years now, and he's also our attorney. And he and his wife are, like, one of our closest couple friends. And, not Jason and Melissa, but probably our next other closest couple friend. And she lived with my friend at the time that I was going over to his house, like his apartment, like every night. And like it was her and another girl and my friend. And the 3 of them lived there, and she was going to stay all the time because her husband now lived in an apartment off campus of IUPUI, which is Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis. And so she would go and stay with him, and she was a Colts cheerleader. And I remember her coming in. And, like, I met her, like, twice. And she would come in, and he'd be like, oh, there she is. And I'd be like, hey, it's nice to meet you. And she'd say, good. And she'd go in her bedroom, get a bag, and she'd leave. And, like, that was it. So years later, like, this is literally, like, 5 years ago, she and I are talking. And she said, she was looking through Facebook one day randomly. And we have, like, 300 friends in common, right? And she was like, how do you know so-and-so? And I go, oh, my God, I used to, like, the first year I got sober, we were out at brunch with them, and I said the first year that I got sober, my friend introduced me to him. My friend that I, like, you know, went to elementary, junior high, kindergarten, elementary, junior high, high school, college, and graduate school. She introduced me to him, and because she thought he was, like, a good person for me to hang out with because he didn't do drugs or drink, and he wasn't sober, but just somebody to, like, you know, keep me busy kind of thing. And he was somebody good for that, you know? And, so, like, 5 or 6 years ago, my friend was like, how do you know him? And I was like, I used to go over to his apartment. Like, we were really good friends the first year. I don't even really remember what happened after that. Well, I think I got in a relationship is what happened. Yes, I got in a relationship. I was sometimes that girl. But anyway, not proud of it. I would see him out from time to time because he did start going out and he got really into going out to the club scene and stuff like that. That's what happened. And I wasn't. And then I also got a boyfriend at the same time. So, but then I would see him out later because he used to go to this bar Utopia a lot. And that's where I met my ex, was at this bar Utopia. So it doesn't exist anymore. It's closed down. But it was the Jaguar, I think, after that or something. But on Sunday nights, it was like a lesbian bar, but on Sunday nights they had like gay guy night or mixed night or whatever. And we would go there and it was so much fun. Oh my God, I love the bar Utopia. Anyway, it didn't last long. And So she was like, how do you know so-and-so? And I was like, I used to go over to his apartment literally like every night after meetings, and he would, my first year, and he would, like I would sit on the floor and he would sit on the couch and we'd make mixtapes. I remember he used to make me, I like looked up a lot of this music lately. He like made me the most fantastic mixtapes. Like he had music that was like Naomi Campbell. Did you guys know Naomi Campbell, the model? She had like dance music that she put out, like techno music. And Liza Minnelli has this whole dance album. It's fantastic if you've never heard of it. I downloaded a bunch of it like a month or two ago. I like thought of it. I was thinking of him and I downloaded a bunch of it. Liza Minnelli, she did like remixes of like Pet Shop Boys songs and stuff. It's a fantastic album. And he knew all this obscure music, Donna Summer obscure music that he would put on these. He would make me the most amazing mixtapes. So anyway, I said I would go over to his house and we would like, you know, get food and then sit around. And like, that's what we did. We like ate food, and I can see us, we both were sitting there on the floor in front of his like stereo, and he would just like make all these mixtapes for me and ask me what I wanted on them and stuff. And then he would like throw songs on there that I didn't know. And she was like, I was his roommate. And I go, when were you his roommate? And she said, I was his roommate when so-and-so was arrested. I said, really? And she goes, yeah. I said, well, I was friends with him then too. And she goes, I feel like I remember you being over there, and I came in, like, we literally, like, she probably came in and out, you know, and I didn't even, never met her, never really, like, because it was always at night and the lights were low, and we were just sitting there, you know, with, like, candlelight, like, making these mixtapes, just, you know, smoking cigarettes and all that kind of stuff. And, but isn't that so funny that, like, she and I, like, she lived there and I didn't even meet her because she hardly ever stayed there. But anyway, so there were these kids that their dad or mom went out of town, or both mom and dad went out of town, or their dad, but I feel like it was a single parent. I don't know why I feel that way. And I don't know how old the sister was, like 13 or 14. And the brothers had like made a marijuana deal. And so this guy, like this drug dealer, maybe it was just two people. The drug dealer came over to their house and he tied them all up, and then he killed them execution style over a marijuana deal. My battery's about to die. And then they robbed the house and stuff like that. It was like horrible. I should look up the article because I'm kind of interested to know like what year that was. Because I got sober December of '94, so I wonder if it was. You know what? I think I only have one good battery, you guys. I'm not gonna be happy if I only have one good battery. I have another battery, but I don't think it's charged. Hold on a second. Okay, this battery says that it's only half full, which means it's gonna probably start blinking in 2 seconds and say it's empty. But I did find an article about this, and it was in 1994. It was in March of 1994. And it says that the neighborhood is flashing, so I'm gonna have to finish this anyway. I'll tell the rest of the story some other night. But let me get off here. I'm just gonna sit here right here in this parking lot, and I'm gonna finish this up because this battery is gonna die. And anyway, I hope I can even make it to the end. I don't know if I can, so I'm gonna make this really quick tonight. Anyway, if you guys made it this far, thank you so much for watching the vlog tonight. I really, really appreciate it. And if you like this vlog, please give it a thumbs up, and put a blue heart in the comment section below if you are a member of the Wolf Pack, which is all of us over here just trying to get through life one day at a time, being positive and kind and compassionate and loving to each other, and putting positivity and love and kindness out there in the world. And if you want to, please leave a comment, and but you don't have to. And please, if you'd like to, subscribe to my channel, or all of my channels if you'd like. It would really mean a lot to me. And I hope you guys are having an amazing Sunday, which is my favorite day of the week, because it's just relaxing, and it's a good way to start the week and just hanging out with. Okay, I put the other battery back in because it'll give me like probably 2 minutes and I can at least finish my outro. If this just dies, then hey, I love you guys and I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye. Because it's flashing now. So anyway, but I hope you have an amazing Sunday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, don't have other plans. Make the most of your day. Do something fun today. Do something exciting. Start a new book. Start a new movie. Start a new TV show. Just do something fun. Hang out with friends. Hang out with family. Take a nap. I don't know, whatever. Make a list for your week so you'll feel accomplished. Do something today that will make yourself do something today that will make you proud when you look back on it, whether that's tomorrow or the next day or next week, excuse me, or a month from now or a week from now, a year from now, 60 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now, 10 years from now, 69 years from now, family friendly, 80 years, 100 years from now, whatever. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Make sure that you look at yourself in the mirror every single day and you say, I love you, and at least one positive affirmation like you are valuable. And every morning when you get up, look in the mirror and say to yourself, I love you, and one positive affirmation like you are valuable. Every night before you go to bed, say to yourself, tomorrow is going to be an amazing day. I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free all day tomorrow. I'm going to laugh, I'm going to sing, I'm going to dance. I love you, bye. It won't let me do any more. I love you, bye.